Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're looking at what's probably going to be the top spec for the Necromancer, certainly early on because it is the starting set. So this is going to be the Bone Spear push guide. Now as push builds go, this is quite a good one to play because it goes very far without too much gas. So in the background we've got a 123. We have used all the Paragon, but there's no augments on it. Some of the pieces aren't ancient, so it's probably like being 1000 Paragon with 500 augments. Now if you've checked out the Bone Spear speed build guide, you'll be smoking hundreds and fives pretty quickly next season, so getting these augments on this will be pretty easy. It's really tanky for a push build, so we're not kind of dying overly too much, and yeah, it's quite fun actually. I'd say this is probably one of the push builds that I quite like, but obviously guys, you know I love me some Necro, so I probably am a little biased, but anyway, that's enough waffle. Do subscribe if you're new. We'll have some more 22 guides on the way, and as always guys, thumbs up greatly brightens my day. But let's jump in and take a look. See, so Masquerade of the Burning Carnival, starting set for the Necro. It revolves all around Simulacrum. So the two piece, they no longer take any damage, they gain all runes, and the cooldown is refreshed when you die. So it's super awesome. If you do take a death, you just pop your Simulacrums and you get going again. We'll go through the runes when we look at the skills, but there's some really nice ones in there. We get 50% damage reduction, and then the remaining 50% damage is split between our Simulacrum. We've got two of them because of the runes, so it's really tanky. Not too sure how much it works out, but it feels kind of like about 80% plus, which is obviously really good. It's a lot of damage reduction. Now Bone Spear deals 10,000% increased damage, and these two guys here, the Simulacrums, they do triple. So it's really these two things here that are causing all the damage. That's also because on the Necro Braces, the Simulacrums deal an extra 400%. So we don't really hit very hard, but these two guys do. They certainly dump out the deeps, which is nice. Now we've got the Scythe of the Cycle, so secondary skills, which obviously Bone Spear is, deal 400% extra damage, provided we have Bone Armor up, but the Bone Armor duration is reduced by 4 seconds whenever we hit the spears. What we want to do is we want to time and do spears on Poison Cycle because we've got the Poison Room. So we need to be activating the Crispins. So this is another kind of big modifier. So double damage or triple this effect if we do it against any CC. So we need to do the stun on the Bone Armor just at the start of physical, and then we need to DPS through physical with the Bone Spear. Bone Spear is also juiced up by the Petrified Spike, so it costs 40 essence now, which is a little thirsty, but we do have a generator, which is the Frost Scythe, so you know it's not too bad, and we get this huge multiplier on it again. We also have the Raelian's Shadow Hook, so every point of max essence is more damage. Take your essence figure, divide it by 2, that's your multiplier. 660 is the highest you can do without Stone of Jordan, so we want it in Paragon points, we want it in passives, we want it as secondary on your Scythe, you want it as secondary on your offhand as well. Obviously Kisui we haven't covered, but we do have. We've got Zeiss, so the further away we are, the more damage we do, just squeezing in that extra modifier. Trapped, obviously, again, we activate the Crispins with this, and it is pretty nice because it's just flat damage. Juggernaut is always a pain for Necro, just skip them, don't bother trying to fight them. If you get super lucky, and they can get melted by area damage, but in general, it's just a straight skip. And then the real kicker for all of this is the Haunted Visions. This basically means the Simulacrum don't disappear. It does drain 1% per life, don't worry about that, doesn't matter. It's just perma Simulacrums, which obviously is pretty good. Now, rounding us out in the cube, we've got the Resist Volition. So when we're at full essence, this does nothing for us, but when we do spend essence, we get 50% damage reduction. Now, top clear on the leaderboard at the moment has illusory boots here because obviously the dude has full primals, 3.5k Paragon, and has enough toughness to survive. But I think until you get to that mega end game stage, these are going to be the best because they do give you another 50% mitigation. And then Brig's Wrath is super helpful. I think it's almost mandatory for pushing. You can run it without it, I guess, but this will basically suck stuff towards you. So you'll see in the footage we do some really good pulls. When we press the curse, everything in the area that is uncursed gets sucked and it pixelates the enemies. You time that with the stun, you time that with the poison cycle and convention, it will absolutely decimate stuff. So this thrives on density. Density is by far the biggest criteria here, because the more stuff you get in that like area damage little window, the better you get at timing that kind of gameplay cycle, just the more damage you'll do. And then finally, guys, obviously Stricken, because it's a push build, we'll stack that with the Grim Scythe, Frost Scythe, and also obviously with the poisons, but it's just that you need it to kill the boss. Yeah, and we do just about make it. Now in the gems, we've got strength here, so you can do armor, so dex is fine, so either red or green because it provides armor. Necro is an intelligence based class, so it has all res naturally, and this just smooths out the toughness. We do also have Dainty's Binding. Try and get 50% on here. Obviously this is an ancient, but I'd probably rather have 50% non-ancient one than an ancient one with a cruddy roll, because the extra damage reduction is godly. We do have the curse, so you do have to manually cast the curse in this spec, so that is something you can forget. If you notice your life just shoots down really quick, it's probably because you've forgotten to do the curse. Gem in the Helm is an interesting one. I personally think life is the way to go because it just does give us a little bit more toughness, but you can do resource cost if you want to spam out more spears without having to fill up on the Grim Scythe. So really kind of choice of either. Again, I think the top clear probably uses the topaz, but I can't remember, it might not. But either which way, if you want a bit more toughness, do this one. If you want some more resource, then go for the topaz. I wouldn't do cooldown. You don't really roll for cooldown. The only thing you've got here is Blood Rush, and I think we need to swap that rune as well because it should be potency. Bone Spear, Blighted Marrow. So the way this works is we get extra 15% damage for every enemy the spear passes through. So again, if you're doing your curse, you're pixelating the enemies, you're getting a lot in a very short space. So again, this figure goes up quite a lot. So again, it absolutely thrives off density. Frost Scythe, this just gives us attack speed, makes it very easy to stack the Stricken. Also means we can spit these bone spears out and get up into future and further breakpoints. Bone Armor Dislocation, we need the Bone Armor for the Scythe of the Cycle. It also provides 30% damage reduction at 10 stacks, so again, nice and handy. And it's got that stun for the Crispies, so again, you pair this with the poison on the convention, and it does do a lot of damage. Simulacrum. All these runes are super good. Well, two of them are not so good, but Cursed Form, we get all the curses. This is very handy because we get a little bit of sustain from Leech, but importantly we get Decrepify, and this is 30% damage reduction. So again, it's just another layer of mitigation, which is very nice. Blood and Bone is the one where we get the 2 simulacrums. We also get Reservoir to double up the essence pool, which is why this is 660, not 330. Self-sacrifice, in theory, after our cheat death has gone off, these sims will then sacrifice themselves. There is no icon on the bar, so it's going to be very rare that you're going to spot this. But in theory, if you do, you can then super quick press Simulacrum, and you basically get them back again. Blood Debt, we don't care about, we're not using blood skills. Frailty, Early Grave, this is how we do the manual curse, so that we can pixelate stuff where we want. We obviously want to do that far away because of the Zais. Obviously we do need to stun for the Crispies, but it just allows more flexibility than doing, say, the Aura one. Plus we also get the 18% cut off point, so 18% life, everything dies. It does cost life, but it's not too bad. It's so tanky that we can afford to do a few goes of this. It's not too bad. Blood Rush, Metabolism, I was playing with this for a little bit just for the extra zippiness and to kind of reposition a little bit easier. Potency, again, top clear had that one on, so it is extra armor after casting it, which is pretty good. For the skills, Overwhelming Essence for the extra essence, which is more damage for the Shadow Hook. Serration we've got here for the extra damage. I was running with Dark Reaping just to make sure that I could spam out lots of different bone spears. This is possibly one that could swap off because you can use your generator. And then Final Service for the cheat death. So, you could swap on to, what could we do? We could do a bit more damage, so Spreading Malediction, a bit more damage possibly. That's a way to go, but you could do Rigor Mortis as well for the slow and reduced attack speed on enemies, because we are, well, no, it's saying that we're hitting for cold, aren't we? So that's no good. Bone Prison, again, you maybe don't want this because you want the actual Crispies procs, but this is how it was in the footage. We'll see how it develops over the course of the season. So I guess that's the skills and passives done, and the gear. I wouldn't really swap anything. I can't really think of too much else to do with this. Unity can go here, but Briggs is very handy for the grouping mechanics. So again, it's maybe something to consider on hardcore, but still, I probably wouldn't bother. And then the illusory boots, as we say, on the top clear. In terms of gameplay, it's quite straightforward. Into the Rift, pop your Simulacrum. You need to get your bone armor stacks up to 10. Once bone armor is up, you are then, powered up with this multiplier here. You need to obviously make sure you get your curse for your damage reduction for your dainties. It groups, and then obviously you're looking to try and keep your attack speed up with this. Doesn't matter too much if it drops off. And then obviously you're DPSing through poison, and if you can time your bone armor stun with some pixelation, with the convention, the damage absolutely nukes. It is pretty good, and as I say, we are quite tanky because of all these layers of mitigation. The sims and the set do a lot. Dainties is another 50. You've got 30 on bone armor. Extra armor on potency, armor gems, life gem in the helm. It will go up pretty far, and obviously this was with kind of like level 100 gems, so this one's 110. These two are kind of like 100. So again, plenty more gas to go on this. We could get ancient pieces, it would go further. Now in terms of stat priorities, area damage, you want area damage, double crit, maybe attack speed over intelligence on the gloves. You definitely want area damage on your shoulders. Other than that, defensive stats are fine. Cooldown's okay. It would be a bit more of a go on potency, so I wouldn't necessarily cry if I got that, but definitely area damage. Bone spear and crit on your helm. As you go further and get more toughness, you want both those damaging rolls. You want bone spear on your boots, obviously pretty handy. For your Scythe of the Cycle, it's not too hard to pick up a good one of these. There's only 4 in the pool. Secondary max essence is very important. Max area damage is very important. Damage percent, and I probably would go attack speed rather than int again at some point when you're rolling off main stat. The 400% multiplier again is pretty good. You want to try and get close to that if you can. Lost time off hand, this provides a lot of move speed. I don't think we covered this in the gear actually, did we? Because we've got the cold rune on Grim Scythe, we can stack this up, so the build has got quite a bit of mobility. It's nice to get out of danger and stuff like that. You definitely want area damage on here. Again, probably bone spear damage over cooldown, so int, area damage, bone spear, and definitely crit chance. So again, we'd power this character up a lot if we had bone spear and crit on here. It would be worth another tier or 2 at least, I think. BCWs, double crit and area damage is probably what I'd go for. So double crit area damage on here. You're going to be stuck with attack speed, so attack speed, socket, crit, I guess. Maybe could we get the intelligence off? I think we can. So yeah, attack speed, crit with a socket possibly. Area damage is absolutely fine to take. On your amulets and on your braces, ideally you want 20% poison. So double crit, socket, poison here. Poison, 6% crit, and again as close to that 400% as you can. So again, we've got another 10% worth of gas on this modifier. So it's kind of nice to see that even though some of these pieces are decent, it's not like end game, super end game by any means. So we could squeeze a few more tiers out of this just as it is, and that's before we start putting maybe a bit more Paragon on, and certainly an entire set of augments. So yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of the strongest builds in the game next season. It's definitely S tier. It may well rule the leaderboards early on because it is the starting set and it's so easy to play. Plus, a lot of people will be doing rats and gearing up the necros anyway. So yeah, expect this to dominate, I think, early on. But we'll have to see. How everything goes. But that is the guide. It's quite easy to play, even for a casual player. I think this will get you higher than you've probably ever been before. Again, I personally think it probably pushes better than the God DH. God DH, obviously you have to fish for the missile dampening. At least for this, it's just density. If you're casual and you just go for density only, you will still get quite high. You don't have to, there's no kind of mega funny business with it. But that's the guide, guys. I'm certainly going to be playing this next season. I'm probably going to roll Necro, so maybe we'll push this as far as we can opening weekend and see how we go. But other than that, super excited for season 22. Let's hope it starts soon. And I've been the Filthy Casual. I'll see you out in the Sanctuary, guys. Take it easy. Peace.